Greetings, everyone. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to remind everybody hit that like, share, and subscribe button for me. There's a PayPal link down below for anybody who wants to share some love, and of course, the StreamYard link is down there for anybody that wants to join the panel. And we're going to talk about insanity tonight, but before we get into that, let me hear about your insanity, guys. What's going on? How's everybody doing?
Well, I must be insane if I'm a patriot.
I think we're all insane. I also want to say greetings down in the chat for everybody that's here. Much love. Many blessings.
Yes,
That meant the Patriot movement.
Actually, I saw some good things. Some supervisors being bombarded and things, and people walking in on them meetings, shutting them down, and for de facto government, even calling them de facto government with no oaths of office and everything. And I think that was one of them, San Diego. I mean, I think good things. I see good things going on all over the place.
Yeah, and it's going to be slow but sure, and people are going to realize, hey, wait a minute, something really is wrong. We are doing something wrong. There's going to come a point where they're not going to be able to avoid it, and it's much like, again, Hitler's willing executioners. There's just no way around it. You keep doing what somebody else tells you simply because they're your boss, and you don't care about anybody that you're told to do it against. You don't question that authority. And that's the last thing we should be doing. We should be learning from that history.
Well, if you look at some of the stuff that's going on around, and you know we'll say chatter, they're even saying the same thing as what you're saying in a lot of this, that it's all military. We're at war here, folks. We're at war.
Yeah, it always has.
That kind of war.
So we're going to go over some codes tonight. You got anything that you want to say before we get into it, Iman?
All is well. I just had some alone time with myself in the spirit of the Most High today. So I'm grateful to have all of you on here with me today, and it is what it is. So
absolutely. All right.
I'll let you start the show, brother.
Sounds good. All right. So I want to go over 1 U.S. Code 1. Words denoting number, gender, and so forth. And you've heard me speak on this before, and it goes in regards to the insanity, because this is where they define such things. And we're going to see in 1 U.S. Code 1, it says, in determining the meaning of any act of Congress, unless the context indicates otherwise, words importing the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things. Words importing the plural include the singular. Are you paying attention to what's this saying? It means one is no longer one. One is a multiple of one. And a multiple of one is no longer a multiple of one. It's one. Do you see that language? Words importing the masculine gender include the feminine as well. You see what the transgender is all about? Words used in the present tense, and an English scholar will argue this. Words used in the present tense include the future as well as the present. So the words used in the present tense include the future as well as the present. The words insane and insane person shall include every idiot, insane person, and person non compos mentis. So we have insane, we have insane person, and we have person. So let's just for shits and giggles look at person first. Oh, it's right there. Remember that term individuals. The word person and whoever. Oh, now it includes whoever. So insane and insane person shall include every idiot, insane person and whoever. Include corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals. Okay, so now we know what person is. What is insane? The word insane and insane person shall... Wait a minute. The words insane and insane person, so by this definition, these are all the same thing. See that? And person, non compos mentis. Officer includes any person authorized by law to perform the duties of the office. And when they gave you that social security number, that was to perform the functions of public office as a United States business officially. Signature or subscription includes a mark when the person making the same intended it as such. Oath includes affirmation, and sworn includes affirmed. So an affirmation is a swearing. An oath is a swearing. A swearing is an affirmation. Writing includes printing and typewriting and reproductions of visual symbols by photographing, multigraphing, mimeographing, manifolding, or otherwise. So that's one USC1. Anybody got any questions? Any concerns on that? I mean, that's pretty strange language. The singular imports the plural, and the plural imports the singular. Does that mean one means two and two means one?
The question that I have, Keith, I understand what you...
Dear, I got to ask you, can you speak closer to the microphone?
I think it's my phone too. I know what the word manifold means when it comes to masonry and dealing in construction, but in the sense of legal, what would you, how would you define that particular word in this sense?
Well, let's look it up. Things that are manifold are of many different kinds. So it would be like the lingua franca that we have for as the English language. It's made up of many different kinds. So it's the language. In that case, we would correlate it to the English language. It's manifold.
So what about the document itself when it's folded and placed in an envelope?
Right. Same concept. It's got three distinct parts. Boom, boom. Now you've got three parts. Physically, it's the act of a manifold. All right. So let's go on to the next one, which is 1 CFR 1, which is the regulations for those definitions under 1 USC 1. And we have 1 CFR 1.1. Now we can go back here and we can see that we've got chapter, which we're going to go look in when we get done here. 1 CFR chapter 1 is where we're at. This is 1.1. So we're going to go a little backwards. But I want to look at these definitions real quick first. Because as we talked about the administration, as used in this chapter, unless the context requires otherwise, administrative committee means administrative committee of the Federal Register established under Section 1506 of Title 44. Agency means each authority, whether or not within or subject to review by another agency of the United States, other than the Congress, the courts, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and the territories and possession of the United States. So that ID, that driver's license, that Social Security card, that one that's authorized, means each authority, whether or not within or subject to review by another agency, you took upon you. It's called an undertaking. Document includes any presidential proclamation or executive order and any rule, regulation, order, certificate, code of fair competition, license, notice, or similar instrument issued, prescribed, or promulgated by an agency. So it's the executive order, which is the executive office or the presidential office, and they have an agreement with any rule, regulation, order, certificate, code of fair competition, license, notice, or similar instrument issued, prescribed, or promulgated by an agency for their acquisitions. Remember the Federal Acquisitions Regulations, contract terms and conditions required to implement statutes or executive orders, commercial item. Agency is for commerce, specifically. Document having general applicability and legal effect means any document issued under proper authority, prescribing a penalty or course of conduct, conferring a right, privilege, authority, or immunity. Internationally protected person is what was conferred upon you as a civilian right. But it imposed an obligation underlying that you weren't aware of, that you were conducting your entire life as a United States business. And that's what the record reflects if you claim to be a United States citizen all of that time. Thus taxable. Or imposing an obligation and relevant or applicable to the general public, member of a class, or persons in a locality, like residents, as distinguished from named individuals or organizations. Are you employed? Then you're a member of the class of those that are employed. You could be unemployed and still be part of the general public. Filing means making a document available for public inspection at the office of the Federal Register during official business hours. I want to ask you, are they filing documents at that local courthouse? I mean, here it says filing means making a document available for public inspection at the office of the Federal Register during official business hours. So are they filing all these documents with the Federal Register? And if not, what are those records and why are they not being filed? And are they being held against the private man by converting the last name to a firm name and the social security number to a obligor number for said obligations. I'm only asking questions, people. A document is filed only after it has been received, processed, and assigned a publication date. Do you really want to file, folks? Think about what you're doing and understand I only question these things for a reason. That's why I don't file things for them in through their record. If I want to file something, which means make a document available for public inspection at the office of the Federal Register, then they can come take a look at my site. That's what I publish. Regulation and rule have the same meaning. So these regulations are just rules, right? Do you see the insanity, folks? So let's go back and look at this chapter 1. You guys got anything on that?
It just amazes me that they've gotten by with this stuff so long.
Well, it's only because of the indoctrination and the propaganda, public education, the nice video programming that we've had since the 50s. You know, that's been an extreme help. You know, it gets the message across much better than the radio.
I'll tell you, it's not a pretty picture when you have that outside view looking in. It's certainly not pretty.
Nope. All right, well, let's get on to the next part, because the next part, again, is part of the federal regulations. And it goes to, this is Chapter 1, Part 16, Agency Representatives. And Part 16 is from 1 CFR Subchapter E, Preparation, Transmittal, and Processing of Documents. And that's Part 16 here is where we're at. Designation. Remember, I told you you're authorized representative, right? So you have a set of duties, and you have to have the certification for those duties, proving the authorization. So you have the authorization, you have a certification, but you don't have any duties and no designation, where you're being treated as a trustee, and your duties are to act as a trustee, and that's supposed to be certified with the authorities as co-trustees. Administrative Committee, Preparation, Transmittal, and Processing of Documents, Agency Representatives. Each agency shall designate from its officers or employees persons to serve in the following capacities with relation to the office of the Federal Register. Do you suppose those statistics are going to be logged into the Federal Register through the National Archives when that death certificate's placed in there? See, that's what's going on. They've got a person to serve in the following capacities with relation to the Office of the Federal Register. That's a statistical logistics center. A liaison officer and an alternate. A certifying officer and an alternate. An authorizing officer and an alternate. You suppose you're an alternate if they take the last name and they alternate it with the firm name? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. The same person may be designated to serve in one or more of these positions.
You're not sharing what you're reading.
I'm not. Goodness gracious. There we go. You're correct. 1 CFR 16.1 designation from preparation, transmittal, and processing of documents. Agency representatives. In choosing its liaison officer, each agency should consider that this officer will be the main contact between that agency and the Office of the Federal Register, and that the liaison officer will be charged with the duties set forth in 16.2. Therefore, the agency should choose a person who is directly involved in the agency's regulatory program. Does that sound like maybe the SS5? Each agency shall notify the director of the name, title, address, and telephone number of each person it designates under this section and shall promptly notify the director of any changes. Each agency liaison officer shall represent the agency in all matters relating to the submission of documents to the Office of the Federal Register and respecting general compliance with this chapter. So, what documents are for the Federal Register? Are those the subsequent documents that they collect for all the data elements to create the statistical record? Be responsible for the effective distribution and use within the agency of the Federal Register information on document drafting and publication assistance authorized by 1510 of this chapter. Promote the agency's participation in the technical instruction authorized by Section 1510 of this chapter. Be available to discuss documents submitted for publication with the editors of the Federal Register. I want to ask you, every time they publish that name in the newspaper, isn't that library material? And that's part of what's supposed to go into that Federal Register through the libraries and stuff. They're supposed to keep those kind of records at the local level. See, it's all just collateral documentation that's assessed throughout one's life through your education, medical history, employment history, banking history, all of that stuff that culminates at the end of your life with a death certificate, specifically to be entered into the Federal Register as a statistical data element. If that's what your life is worth, then you go ahead and keep believing in that United States citizen and that patriotic symbol that you want to always do, putting your hand over your heart and pledging allegiance to a flag. That's a corporate entity that you're pledging allegiance to, and the republic for which it stands. And yet, it stands for the republic because we don't have a standing republic. And nobody seems to get that.
Yeah, you kind of like, you promise as a non-member loyalty to the Union battle flag and the Republic. That's what you're doing, Keith.
Yeah. These people, again, they don't understand the language that they've been indoctrinated in. It certainly has allowed for great convenience. It is a great, like I said, it's a beautiful language, and describing it as a lingua franca, a vehicular language, man, it'll move some shit. It'll move mountains, people. I urge you to understand what's going on. And with that, I want to read the next thing. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see here, group. Let's see here. Okay. Make her big. Get back to my screen, and I have to stop that.
Remind everybody to hit that like button.
Yes, please and thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. There's a PayPal link down below for anybody that wants to share some love. And of course, the StreamYard link there for anybody that wants to join the panel. I don't know that we're going to be too much longer, though, but I do have something. This is something that a friend of mine wrote up a couple years back. Nemia Tither, one of the Tithers. They've got their own site and everything. I believe I've got them on my own internet site, the Wyrd Wyzard on the contact page. If you go down, I believe you will see their site on there. And she wrote this up, and she said, I just want to share with you all what flowed out of me straight from God today without force, right on time. I've been waiting for this flow for years, knowing I did not need to force it, knowing God would align with me every single piece of information through my walk with Him that would bring it all together in perfect comprehension when it was time to express it. Anytime I tried, it was me forcing something not yet meant to be, and I'd stop immediately, 1 to 2 sentences in, knowing it was force and not time yet. So anyway, today, while living my beautiful life filled with faith and trust in God, I heard God very loudly calling to me, sit and write, to stop everything I was doing and just let it flow as it should. So I did, and I wrote until the channel stopped coming through me. Here it is. Enjoy simplicity. And she's right, it is. She copy pasted what I just wrote, and then she added her own little comprehension on here. And I'm like, I'm going to read it. I thought it was greatly put. It was very well put together. In truth and fact, it states that it is illegal for me to participate unless I am an insane person that needs governance, who took office with oath through signature in writing and became an officer. It also states that by this very premise, that it is illegal for you to speak to me or contract with me, and can cause you to lose your position within your fictitious system if you do so. And being that I am a living, breathing man of flesh and blood and not a person, under your definition, I am not legally able to participate in your tax system because your definition of person includes only corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals. And she's absolutely correct. These are all commercial entities for identification purposes, and the name and number identify the record. Being that your definition of individual is A, in determining the meaning of any act of Congress or of any ruling, regulation, or interpretation of the various administrative bureaus and agencies of the United States, the words person, human being, child, and individual shall include every infant member of the species Homo sapiens who is born alive at any stage of development. See what that's saying? Person, human being, child, and individual. They're all of the same class. Are you an adult? Well, it doesn't matter. It's a Homo sapien who is born alive at any stage of development. Once you're born alive, individual. And given that we are living, breathing men of flesh and blood and not infants, Homo sapiens, persons, a child, nor human being, we are not invited nor included in any part of your act of Congress, included the Federal Reserve or IRS. We are living, breathing men of flesh and blood. The only thing I would change about this is, since we are living souls upon the very breath of God and not infants, Homo sapiens, persons, a child, nor human being. These are all nouns. So if you're going to use anything, I would use child of God. Your preface is what you're a child of. Child of the creation, child of the creator, child of life itself. We are not invited nor included in any of your acts of Congress, as we are acts of God, and he is no respecter of persons, the Federal Reserve or IRS. It also states that your acts of Congress, your statutes, codes, policies, and regulations are meant only for yourselves and can only be enforced upon yourselves. Like I said, it's a big bank, and they're all tellers, and they're only supposed to be telling on each other. This alone, per your definition, proves that you, who created these codes, are not of sound mind, are insane idiots who lack comprehension, simply by your own will to choose to participate in a fictitious system, disconnected from truth and reality, thus cannot govern over your own selves, thus have no jurisdiction nor authority, and cannot completely govern over any flesh and blood man, thus by default makes all living men free of your sufferings. And I love this part here, because participate in a fictitious system connected or disconnected from truth and reality, thus cannot govern over your own selves. And each one of them is going to point to a piece of paper and say, no, I get my authority from that. Well, who gave you that paper? Somebody that governs over you? Because you can't govern over yourself? Pretentious motherfuckers. Excuse my language. Again, I'm talking about Hitler's willing executioners. You'll even sit there and say, I'm just doing my job. Somebody else gave me the authority to do this. Somebody else gave you the authority to kidnap children? Excuse me? You're just doing your job? You get paid for it? You got paid to kidnap children? Excuse me? What did you just admit? So, by the mere fact that I was not invited to your party, I am not under any obligation to participate in your criminal activity and acquire your passports to travel. It would be illegal by your own laws to stop me and my family from traveling freely upon the earth, completely or competently overseeing our own journey. I'm also not under any obligation to participate in any of your medical experimentations, including mask mandates, COVID testing, not mandatory vaccinations. Due to your definitions of singular and plural, even if one living, breathing man of flesh and blood has been vaccinated, we all have and are not subject to any further illegal infringement of our rights by your property that we were not invited to, thus excluding every living, breathing man of flesh and blood from all fictitious executive orders and mandates. Because if one man has an excuse not to be vaccinated, they all do. And vice versa, though, just because one gets vaccinated doesn't mean they all have to get vaccinated. Being that you include the future and the past as one, understand what she's doing here. It is future and past. They said present, and already the present's already past. So now we're already talking about the past and the future. See what I'm saying? Being that you include that the future and past as one, then I'm not subject to your fictitious laws in any time, space, nor place on earth. Thus, if any of your insane officers violate our rights to exercise our free will, to choose to be fictitious or in truth and fact, you will be fined $1 billion per minute per officer for this offense and will be held to your own standards and definitions of singular and plural in that act. Meaning, if even one of your insane officers, masculine and feminine, violates our God-given rights as private people with free will, all of your officers will be held accountable and fined for this trespass. What she built there is that even one officer trespassing on one of the people is a trespass upon all of the people. And if the other officers don't stop that, then it's a trespass by all of those officers. They have an obligatory duty in the inherent nature of the duties of the job itself, without standing any case law. The very principal foundation. Go
That's
ahead.
where 18 US, is that 18 USC 4 that comes in misprism?
Yep, misprision of felony. If they are knowing of a felony in their capacity, they're supposed to draw up those charges. They're supposed to draw up an investigation on that, without a doubt. So we get back to it, and it says, in truth and fact, you have included that the singular includes all person, parties, or things. You have stated by your own definition that person includes corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals. Given the fact that I and my family are living, breathing men of flesh and blood, and not a corporation, company, association, firm, partnership, society, joint stock company, nor an individual, I nor my family are invited to participate with you in any way. In other words, what she's saying, she's not of the capacity. Same thing I'm saying. You're not an organized business. You've never been organized in that fashion. Sure, there was an establishment of a legal name that we could use to conduct business, but we were never trained up in it, and it never developed at any stage other than the SS5, where that just simply handed over the estate affairs to the Social Security Administration, and then we were held liable as if though we thought it was a benefit. Oh, you got to have a Social Security card so you can get a job. No, you don't. You only need a Social Security card at a job if you want to have them act as a transfer agent or a withholding agent so you can pay taxes, which is voluntary. And it's between you and the employer, not you and the IRS. Therefore, if even one living, breathing, flesh and blood man has their identity verified in your fictitious system, then all living, breathing men have had their identity verified. Just that term alone, man, is the start of it. You can't just go around calling everybody man, so you got to call him the Smithy. Yeah, that's the guy that does all the Smith work in town. Other than that, he's a pretty private guy. Don't even know his damn name. Following your own code, stating the singular and the plural are included to be one in the same, and masculine and feminine are one in the same, which encompasses all of man. In truth and fact, I have not given any signature, written, verbal, or any other kind included, and given that only a person under your definition can give a signature, it would be impossible for you to receive a signature from a person, being that a person under your definition does not have hands, nor sound mind, and cannot make a free will choice or hold a pen without the help of an idiot, insane man who cannot comprehend what he is doing, who was manipulated into thinking he was a person. See, you're the idiot, insane man that's going around signing for a person, knowing that God says he's no respecter of persons. So why are you signing? Again, like I said, if they offer the document, it's not a matter of accepting it. No, they're supposed to fill it out. They offered it to you for you to fill it out in an official capacity so you could sign it. That's their job. They're the trustee. They're supposed to fill it out. They're supposed to sign it on behalf of the beneficiary. So therefore, in truth and fact, it is not possible for any living, breathing man, whether of sound mind or not, to sign, write, affirm, or pledge anything to your fictitious system, and every act you have taken against them has been illegal. You guys got any questions with that? I mean, I would expect that's strong language, guys. How come nobody's questioning that? Everybody's in agreement. Good deal. I like that. I do. I really do. Given your own definitions of singular and plural, it applies to all idiots and insane men lacking comprehension within your fictitious system, and being that not one of your definitions is referring to a living, breathing man created by God, you have effectively excluded and relieved all living, breathing men, both masculine and feminine, singular and plural, from participation, prosecution, or any type of purgatory within your fictitious deceitful system from the very beginning of its creation. Do you guys see what that's saying? Being that not one of your definitions is referring to a living, breathing man created by God. And again, I would just change this to a living soul created by God.
I generally call it a living soul that breathes the breath of air from God.
So thus, leaving only the insane idiots with no mental comprehension nor sound mind to volunteer themselves to be at the mercy of your fictitious hand. I want everybody to pull that license or ID out of your wallet right now. And I want you to look at the top of that and tell me if it doesn't say in all capital letters, the state of Iowa, the state of Missouri, whatever. And then look at the name down below that you think is yours, and it's got the last name, comma, first and middle name, and it's all uppercase. No one ever taught you to write your name that way, people, did they? Can I see your ID, please? So you give them an ID that says Little, comma, Keith Orland, and then they ask you to sign a document, and you sign Keith Little. Is there something off? Am I the one that's stupid? Am I the idiot, the insane man? Or am I qualified in asking these questions and knowing the truth? Particularly after these kind of definitions, huh, folks? Thus, every living, breathing man of flesh and blood are free to exercise their own will to participate or their will to not participate. And your fictitious system gave itself no authority over those who choose not to. Thus, hold no jurisdiction beyond their choice. In other words, folks, you can quit anytime you want. Extra add-ins. If even one living, breathing man was granted access to travel upon the earth, then all have been granted access. Thus, no living, breathing men need to identify themselves or sign up for your voluntary programs or acts of Congress to participate, nor do any men of sound mind and competence who choose not to participate need to prove their identity to travel freely upon the earth. Just because you require yourselves to identify doesn't mean you can demand the people that you don't know to identify. See, there's the category of that administration. You have to know the people that you have the ability to administrate over. And if you're going into some community that you don't even live in, I think you're the fool, because when people start turning their backs on you, you're the first ones they're going to start hanging. You're the foreigners. You're the ones kidnapping children for a paycheck. If even one child was taken, they have all been taken. But if even one of them was returned back to their mother and father, they are all to be returned back to their mother and father. This is saying you ain't got a right to touch them to begin with. And you already know this. Yet you still keep taking children. That's pretty fucking ballsy.
All these insane persons. You know what I find, what I was looking into, based on the insanity within all of this, because obviously these folks have no clue what the hell they're doing. I'm sure some do. In particular, like that Ruth Baxter, when she dropped from being that master commissioner after 33 years because of the questioning. But now it brings to my attention now that the person that is the county or the master commissioner now is he's also the city attorney for the mayor. Is he the one running this show there in town? The circus?
Well, yeah,
With the whole finances and everything? Because obviously he's controlling the accounting for the Social Security number.
Right.
So does he got access with the bank?
Well, the mayor's the one that's got the resident record.
So look at this. So that city attorney's with the mayor and handling the accounting for the Social Security Administration.
Yes, just go record at the local level. The individual. That's where it all comes from. Every last bit of it. And they need that ID to track you. And you use that address like it's a good thing. That's the tracking element. But if you understand it, it's the conservation easement that already has a protection order for those natural creatures and blah, blah, blah. And there's all kinds of things you could use against them to show them that they're just idiots and don't know what they're actually supposed to be protecting. Because again, like I said, these people are just doing their job, and that's what they're protecting. They're protecting their own ass and their own family. Nothing more. So it goes on to say, yep. It goes on to say, if even one living, breathing man was arrested, then they've all been arrested. And if even one man of them was set free, then they are all to be set free. If even one living, breathing man was married and granted divorce, they are all divorced, and thus making every marriage null and void. Again, just the principal concept that this isn't our job to be doing this stuff. We're supposed to be helping each other, not arresting each other and throwing them in prison as if they were fiends and convicts. And of course, there's a limit on that. You know, we're talking about traffic citations and family issues and stuff. You're not supposed to be destroying the family. And that's exactly what this capitalist system does. Even if one living, breathing man was ordered to pay child support and relieved of paying child support, then all are relieved of child support, thus making every arrest for unpaid child support illegal by your own hand and own doing. If even one living, breathing man was arrested for possession of cannabis and released from the charge, then all must be relieved of their charge, as it is not valid nor legal per your definitions of singular and plural. See what she's getting at there?
Right.
Your law is good for you, and it's good for me if I'm part of your society. I'm not. I'm of something greater. I was born on this land, and your society exists parallel to me, but that doesn't mean you can destroy me and my natural life. You can't make me call myself any name. Kunta Kinte. Tell us your name. Say Toby. Tell us your name. Say it's Toby. And everybody's proud to be a United States citizen. And I can ask them if you're a man, and they're going to stand up and say, yes. Oh, so you're a good Catholic man, huh? Yes. Well, you don't know your scripture too damn well, do you? What do you mean by that? Well, of course, Genesis 2:7, where man breathed in the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So you still think you're a man and forget all about the living soul, because the man is the materialistic bullshit. You're so impugned by the man and its masculinity and its pride and ego and the name of that thing and the picture of that thing and the image and likeness, and it's all about that messenger, while all the time forgetting about the message. Okay, Johnny, it's time to go to school. Off you go. Letting somebody else indoctrinate them with their dogmatic message. Go ahead.
I was speaking to a representative at the finance department today, and his name was Man, M-A-N.
Interesting.
Very
I told you about
interesting.
the attorney. They appointed standby attorney in my last trial 7 years ago or so, and his name was Justin, and it was spelled Lies, and he said it meant it was pronounced Lees. I just called him in Lies. Mr. Lies, it's Lees. Mr. Lies. This one here, let me pull this up. Got to stop share there, pull it up, new screen share. And Iman sent me something in the back. This is 9 CFR as it relates to animals and animal products, agricultural marketing service, fair trade practices program, Department of Agriculture, administering the Packers and Stockyards Act, definitions, meaning of words. So we're going to get kind of the same thing as the 1 CFR 1.1. This is a set of definitions, but this is just one. And it says meaning of words, whereas before it was words denoting numbers, gender, and so forth. Now we have meaning of words. Words used in this part in the singular form shall be deemed to import the plural and vice versa, as the case may demand. Then the next one was 8 CFR. and this is 316.20. It's aliens and nationality, Department of Homeland Security, nationality regulations, general requirements for naturalization, American institutions of research, public international organizations, and designations under the International Immunities Act. Designations. 8 CFR 316.20, da 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 da. American Institute. The following listed organizations have been determined to be American institutions of research recognized by the Attorney General. African Medical and Research Foundation, Albert Einstein, da 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 da. American Institute of Research in Behavioral Sciences. American Universities Field Staff, Inc., American University, the Cairo, Egypt, American University of Beirut, Arctic Institute of North America, Inc., interesting, Asia Foundation, what else? Atomic Bomb Casualty, anything interesting?
Armor Research?
Huh. Central Registry of Jewish Losses in Egypt? Huh. There you go. Cornell University. Gotta have them, huh? Georgetown University. Harvard. Harvard Yenching Institute. What the hell is that? I'll have to look that up sometime. Interesting, interesting. Anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. Basically wanted to go over this information on 1 CFR as it relates to that identification and that resident and being of the insane in compos mentis or non compos mentis, excuse me, not being competent enough to understand what's going on, and that's why you've got that ID in your wallet. If you understood what it was, you would seriously question it. So with that, we're out. You guys got anything on the way out?
I'll just end as the usual. Be the change you wish to see, and I wish I could see a lot of us doing a lot better than what we are out here.
Absolutely, Russ. I agree.
By hopefully coming together more. I mean, I don't see why a lot of these big talking heads out here, what you want to, whatever the hell, whatever language you want to use and call them. But I wish that we could come to some level ground, because I think there is a calling out here in the metaverse, and something's going to spark one of these days. I just feel it, that this is going to resonate with people, and hopefully
Well,
come
I
to
think
some
it is. I think,
comprehension of what's happened to us all. We're,
yeah,
get rid of the blame game. Quit blaming anybody.
yep,
It's your own damn fault. It's your own damn fault. If you're not to that point yet, you still got a long ways to go. That's the way I see
yep.
it. So the way I see it, I'm sorry, but much love to everybody. Be the change you wish to see, and popularity without a positive purpose leaves no will and legacy that we are responsible to leave. Much love.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Iman?
The only thing I wanted to say, Brother Keith, is that when I was looking at it, was Spirit just had me to go to Title 9 of this code, and the heading was animals and animal products, but nowhere in there did it have the definition for man or animal. So that was quite interesting. So but like everything else that you do, I have gratitude, and I'm just going to keep it moving, just keep doing what I need to do, read, honor the great mother and father, and just be myself. I'm just going to keep being who I am. That's all I'm going to do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you be blessed tonight, sister. And folks, with that, we are done with tonight's night stream. And you know me, I love you. I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back or not. That's to say, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. So that's on you. And may God bless you. And have a good night. Bye now.